Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another webinar that Hazen Jarvis is hosting. And today we're going to be looking at the amazing and incredible country of Peru. And our travel consultant, Ingrid, will be going through some amazing places within Peru and some that are off the beaten track that I think will be very interesting for everybody to sort of to look at there as well. So my name is Jazz, and I am the UK Travel Consultant Manager here. I started my career here after university 13 years ago, bit of an aviation gig, to be honest, but came to Hazen Jarvis and I haven't left since. So I look after the UK team. We're a worldwide business as well. And I've been very fortunate enough to have traveled to 46 countries. My specialities lie in the Indian Ocean, Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and the Indian subcontinent. And I love Western Canada and parts of South America as well. So, you know, it's very nice to see some of our regular guests here today again, as usual, which is great. You know, we'd love you to come and experience and learn about this amazing destination. And welcome to all of our new guests here today as well. Just to give you a bit of background on Hazen Jarvis, we started 70 years ago by Mr. Hayes and Mr. Jarvis, and we started our business actually in Kenya. And then we've just got bigger and bigger. And now I would say a complete unique selling point about Hazen Jarvis is the enthusiasm and the pleasure of all of our travel consultants who love traveling. Our business colleagues all over the world have an enthusiasm and a passion for travel. So it's just a great place to work with colleagues such as that. We have expert knowledge on each destinations that we offer. And when I'm saying expert, I mean true experts to help you design amazing experiential sort of trips of a lifetime. That's what we specialize in. We offer some very unique services, and it's all about creating the perfect trip for all of our guests. So all of our guests get a personal trip coordination service. So you basically get your own personal trip coordinator allocated to you after the time of booking. And then this person is to answer any questions or any information you might require before you depart. They love to have video calls with you just so they understand you completely of what you're expecting in a beautiful trip with ourselves. And then they're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're actually based in a similar time zone. Now, believe me, it makes a huge difference. You know, sometimes you could be in South America and the time difference means that the office in the UK would have closed and you've got to wait until the next day. But we know we've actually got our trip coordinators based within South America for those trips. So they're available 24 hours a day. They would follow up with you very regularly just to make sure that you're having an amazing trip. And they coordinate everything to make sure that everything runs absolutely smoothly. As I mentioned, we're an international team. We're based in the UK and around the world. We have head offices in Denver, in Munich, in Bangalore. We have offices in Cape Town, Toronto. So it's a very multicultural worldwide business. And we are part of the Travelopia group of companies, which is the biggest inspirational luxury travel company brands around the world. And we're owned by KKR, one of the biggest investment firms in there. So COVID has been tough, I'm not going to lie, but we've gone through it very successfully. Got lots of new amazing products that we now offer. So I would say we've done very well and we just hope to get better and better. Now, what does that mean for you guys traveling on one of our trips? It's the first-hand experience that we will offer you. To the point that if you need us to advise what restaurants to go to, where you'd like to go, we've got the knowledge and the expertise to do all of that as well. It is all personal travel consultants, so it's no call centers. You have your own personal travel consultant, and then you have your own personal trip coordinator. So everything gets looked after for you, and it just makes the whole process very, very easy. And bearing in mind, you know, with all the COVID regulations that keep on changing, etc., that's something that you don't have to worry about. You know, that's what we're here to do, just to make sure everything runs smoothly. So all we ask you to do is get to the airport on time, and everything else is going to be completely taken care for you. We're very picky with what we decide to offer for our guests. So they are hand-picked properties from our product managers and our colleagues that have visited these places. And we have to make sure that it's right for our guests. We're not a price-driven company. For us, it's about creating that magical experience, that trip of a lifetime for you, and that's what we specialize in. We're one of the only 5-star companies in the market. So if you do read our reviews on Trustpilot, you will see we do get a 5.0 rating. So we're very proud of that. And every individual trip is created completely bespoke for you. Yes, we have sample trips to show you what we can offer, but we would create a trip that's perfect for you, your partner, your family, to make sure that everyone is taken into consideration when we design these trips. And we're very proud of that as well. And then we, I would say we're a very big company, owned by some very, very rich owners. So, travel with confidence with us. We've had lots of policies in place, like carefree guarantee policies, which gives you the extra flexibility, no cancellation fees, etc. So we really try to do as much as we can to navigate these testing times and make everything easy for our guests, but still making sure that you are looked after and you're not just fobbed away. Now, these are some of the places that we are now selling. And as you can see, we do predominantly most of the world. I know some of our guests must be thinking, why can't I see any Caribbean islands? As I said, we are all about creating complex experiential trips of a lifetime. And to be very frank with you, it's very difficult for us to compete with the likes of BA, Virgin or TUI, when they're just going to the one place and coming back. It's very hard for us to add value. And when I say value, it's a trip coordination service, the way we look after our guests. And as I said, very difficult to compete against those carriers, or just going on to Expedia to book a hotel and a flight. So that's why we decided that we would move away from there. And you can see we have some fantastic, amazing destinations all over the world, from Central America to North America to some amazing places in South America, some very beautiful places in Africa and some very untouched places there as well. Southeast Asia, the Far East, Australasia, the Indian subcontinent. And we also work with Iceland as well, which has been a booming destination because it probably was the first destination that opened. So what we will be doing now is we will be doing different polls throughout the webinar today. So it'd be very nice and very kind of you if you'd like to maybe fill those in so we can have a bit of a understanding of where you like to go, what places you're looking at. And if there are any technical issues today, apologies up front, there shouldn't be, but if there is, we will get back to you ASAP, yeah, we'll get back to you soon. So the first poll is there. When are you sort of planning your next trip? And which of these sort of destinations are on your bucket list? So if you could kindly answer that, that'd be absolutely great. And then I can pass you over to our lovely travel consultant, Ingrid. Ingrid's actually based in Buenos Aires today in Argentina. So as I said, we have a worldwide team. So Ingrid's based in Buenos Aires and she will be doing a very detailed sort of presentation for everybody. But I appreciate everybody taking the time to fill that poll for us as well. Right, so without any ado, I would love to introduce you to my colleague Ingrid. As I said, she's our South America expert, has a wealth of knowledge, and I think I know you're going to have an amazing time learning about this amazing destination. Ingrid, over to you.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks for the nice introduction, Jess, and welcome to everyone. And thank you for joining me tonight. So I'm really happy to talk today about Peru. It is a beautiful country, very rich in heritage and culture, and with stunning landscapes. So I'm lucky enough to have visited it a couple of times. Yeah. So give me 1 second here. Okay. So a very brief introduction to Peru. It is located in the west of South America, and it is the 3rd largest country in South America. It is bordered in the north by Ecuador and Colombia, in the east by Brazil, in the southeast by Bolivia, and in the south by Chile, and in the south and west by the Pacific Ocean. So except for the Lake Titicaca Basin, which is like shared with Bolivia, its borders lie sparsely populated zones. Yeah, and this is mainly due to the Amazon basin. You can see it in the picture, that big green area, yeah, on the right side of the map. Yeah, so Peru has a population of 34 million, so roughly half of the population of the UK, but in a territory that is 5 times bigger than the UK. And its capital and largest city is Lima in the Midwest. So before starting with less known attractions in Peru, or so-called off the beaten path, I would like to give you a quick overview. What is Peru famous for? Because maybe you missed one of these. So let's go over it. Let's start with the most famous landmark in South America, Machu Picchu. It is located in the high Andes of Peru, in the Urubamba Valley, that's north of Cusco. And that citadel had a capacity for around 1,000 residents at its peak moment. It had been the most important Incan site and has been variously described as a fortress, an imperial retreat, and a ceremonial precinct. So it was used for 80 years, before being abandoned and forgotten, only to be rediscovered in early 1911 by the American explorer Hiram Bingham. Actually, a Peruvian person called Agustín Lizárraga from Cusco had visited Machu Picchu 9 years earlier and left an inscription on one of the walls, written with charcoal. However, it was like Bingham, Mr. Bingham, who brought Machu Picchu to international attention. And Machu Picchu is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So another top attraction in Peru is Cusco, considered the tourist capital of Peru, and it's the main gateway city to Machu Picchu. It is a beautiful city with colonial houses, Incan walls, and cobblestone streets. Cusco, it was the religious and administrative capital of the Incan Empire. And so it has very fine buildings and palaces, like the Coricancha complex. And Cusco is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So the Sacred Valley of the Incas, or the Urubamba Valley, is another major tourist destination. And besides Machu Picchu, there are also other archaeological sites here in the valley, like Pisac, Ollantaytambo, and Moray, which we can see on this picture. The Inca Trail to Machu Picchu, this is a beautiful multi-day trek from the Sacred Valley to Machu Picchu Citadel. Much of the trail is of the original Inca construction with stunning views, and it passes through several types of Andean environments like cloud forests and alpine tundra. There are also settlements, tunnels, and many Incan ruins are located along the trail. And before ending at the Sun Gate, and that's the entrance gate to Machu Picchu. So the network of the Inca roads is called Chapacñan in the Quechua language, and it is considered one of the best works of Inca engineering that remains on this day, and therefore listed by the UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. So the network of Inca Trail runs along the Andes Mountain from Ecuador to Chile and Argentina. So the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu is the most famous section of this Chapacñan. Tambopata National Reserve in the tropical Amazon basin is a very pristine rainforest, like with obox lakes and clay cliffs, like we can see on this picture, and indigenous people. So nearby are the Manu National Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the Bahuaja-Soneja National Park. And the main gateway to all these areas is the city of Puerto Maldonado, and the connection by flight from Cusco is very, very easy. So here, Lake Titicaca, very close to the city of Puno, it is the largest lake in South America and known for a couple of its islands. So well known, but for my taste too touristy, are the Uros Island, which we can see here in this picture, which are small man-made floating islands, constructed by the native Uros or Uru people, and with Totora reeds. In my opinion, more interesting and beautiful are the islands of Taquile and Amantani. There are no cars, no hotels, and on these islands. And since machines are not allowed on Taquile and Amantani, all agriculture is done by hand. So if you are looking for a truly authentic and deep cultural experience, this is the right place to visit. Yeah. And by the way, Puno to be honest, it's an ugly city. If possible, stay out of town. A beautiful property in this area is Titicaca. Yeah, not Titicaca, but Titicaca, which is part of Relais Chateau. And another interesting way of exploring this area is by taking the Belmont and the Andean Explorer train. It is a multi-day experience that allows you to connect like Cusco, Puno, and Arequipa. Yeah, Arequipa is another famous place in Peru. It is the second largest city, and it's the seat of the Constitutional Court of Peru. And Arequipa is known as the White City due to its architecture built with white volcanic stone. From the city, it's really nice because you can see the imposing volcanoes. Yeah, and the volcano you can see in the picture, this one is called Misti. Yeah, and there are lots of stories around the Misti. Arequipa's historical center has been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Yeah, and a highlight is the ornate architecture, which is a mix between the Spanish and the native styles. The Colca Canyon is one of the deepest canyons in the world. Yeah, its length is about 70 kilometers. It is very scenic and colorful valley and one of the best places in Peru to observe condors. Yeah, my recommendation is to do a trekking tour in the Colca Canyon. It is, in my opinion, the best way to experience it. Oh, the Nazca lines. These are impressive. They are not only lines, yeah, but also huge geoglyphs that have been created by the ancient Nazca civilization, which flourished in southern Peru between 200 BC and 600 CE. And you really have to do an overflight to appreciate the figures and lines that cross the valleys and the mountains. There are some designs that are visible from the ground, but most are only visible from the air. Yeah, designs could be geometric shapes or animal designs like a hummingbird, a condor, monkey, or spider, among others, or even plants or human figures. And the Nazca lines are listed by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, yeah, as well. Lima, as already mentioned, is the capital city of Peru, and its historical center is also UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was called the City of the Kings and was until the middle of the 18th century that the capital and most important city of the Spanish domain in South America. Yeah, so there are very beautiful buildings, such as the convent of San Francisco. Yeah, so it's really worth to visit. In Peru, especially in the Andean highlights, the ancestral traditions are very strong. So many people still speak the ancient Inca language of Quechua, yeah, and they wear the traditional dresses and follow ceremonies and rituals. There are also important festivities, yeah, like the Inti Raymi festival, which occurs every winter solstice. Textiles are also a highlight in Peru. So weaving is an integral part of the local culture in many parts of Peru. I previously mentioned Taquile, yeah, the island on the Titicaca Lake. And that island is especially known for its handicraft tradition and very high quality textile art. In fact, the textile art of Taquile was declared intangible cultural heritage of humanity by the UNESCO. And what is surprising on that island is that weaving is done both by women and men. On this island, it is said that a man's worth isn't measured by his ability to hunt or fish, but in his ability to knit. So, food. I'm sure you have heard about the fusion cuisine in Peru. Yeah, so Peru is a leading culinary destination in South America. There are a couple of Peruvian restaurants, like maybe you have heard about Central and Maido, yeah, which are listed on as the 10 best globe the 10 best globe's best restaurants, yeah, in 2021. I'm sorry if I get stuck with the English because, of course, it's not my native language. So really sorry if I have some problems with the language. So with the language. So on this map, we can see the location of the travelers hotspots we have just seen. Yeah, so you can see that most of the places are in the lower half of Peru. But Peru is a very big country, yeah, and boasts a rich and diverse history and culture. So let me stop here for a minute, yeah, and let's run a short poll. I would love to know which of these Peruvian ancient civilizations have you heard about? We will give you some time to answer it. So, okay, I see the first answers coming in. Thank you so much for responses. I see that the Inca civilization is like the absolute winner here, and I'm not surprised about this. Okay, so maybe some of you didn't know that Machu Picchu and the Inca Empire is just the end of the story, yeah, and that Peru had very ancient civilizations whose impressive sites can be visited, yeah, and so I created like this very rough timeline to give you an overview of the Peruvian ancient civilizations, yeah. The ones in blue are the civilizations of Peru. And I also added other ancient civilizations like the ones of Mexico, which are in orange, yeah, and other famous civilizations in gray, yeah. So you can compare them like in this timeline. In the next slides, we will visit a couple of locations where we can visit the sites of these ancient civilizations, but it is not all about temples and ruins, yeah. So we will also see like other attractions. Okay. Let's discover first the highlights of the northern Peru, yeah, like Chiclayo, Trujillo, Chachapoyas, the Pacaya-Samiria National Reserve, and Máncora. This place is called Tucumán and is located near Chiclayo. I remember getting out of the car and my expectation to visit an ancient site in this colorful hill named Cerro Purgatorio, which means Purgatory Hill. And it took me some time to understand that this hilly landscape was not just a hill, yeah, but many buried pyramids. So I instantly remembered that when I was little, yeah, I wanted to be an archaeologist. And believe me, at that moment, I thank God that I decided to study business administration. So I think it will take them hundreds of years to clean up the space, yeah. And there are so many places like this, yeah. So there's and here, like on top of this hill, there is a very long staircase, yeah. You can go up, yeah, and from the top of the Cerro Purgatorio, you can see the 26 pyramidal buildings, yeah, in Tucumán. So several different cultures come together here, yeah, the Lambayeque and the Sipan, later the Chimu, and finally the Inca. The Huaca Larga, which means the long pyramid, is with its 700 meters, the longest known adobe structure in the world. Let's go now to Huaca Rajada, which is also known as Huaca Sipan. This is a Moche archaeological site dated from 50 to 700 AD. The Moche society was agriculturally based and had very sophisticated irrigation systems. In all these places, you can see the archaeologists in action. Yeah, somehow Peru surprised me that there were still so many pyramids to be unearthed. So, and I'm sure that new places will be discovered in the upcoming years. Huaca Rajada is famous for the tomb of Lord of Sipan. Yeah, it has been excavated in beginning of 1987, and the Lord of Sipan was an ancient Moche ruler, and this finding was really important. Yeah, it has been a very important milestone for archaeologists because for the first time a royal burial from an ancient Peruvian civilization was found intact and without traces of looting. So. And the wooden coffin in which he was buried was the first of its kind found in America. In this picture, you can see a representation how the tomb looked like when they unearthed it. Yeah, but it's all replica here in this picture. There is a small side museum that can be visited at Huaca Rajada, and it shows the artifacts recovered in the latest excavations, yeah, carried out in the archaeological site. And on the left side, you can see a feline mask, yeah, the jaguar and the puma, the big cats of the Andean era, represent the life force, yeah, of the earthly world. So the feline is the great predator, yeah, capable of hunting the largest herbivore, the deer. And for this reason, the feline symbolizes the cycle of life. It takes the life of another to continue living, yeah. And on the right side, we can see a mask that looks like a bird. Birds are mainly associated with the world above, yeah. The flight allows them to connect with the external and the solar world. And some of the birds also come into contact with the world below, yeah, as it is the case with the fishing birds, yeah, that feed on the sea, which is the inner world. So the Columbian art mixes, like the pre-Columbian art mixes the physical and the supernatural characteristics, yeah, of the feline, the serpent, and the bird. And it brings together the forces of the three worlds, yeah, the heaven, the earth, and the world of the dead. But the best museum in this era is definitely the Royal Tombs of Zipan Museum. Here you can see the set of ornaments, the emblems, and outfits used by the Lord of Zipan, yeah, and other tombs of Moche nobility that were discovered in the mausoleum of Huaca Rajada, Zipan. And the Moche are well known for their elaborately painted ceramics and gold work. So the artifacts expresses their lives, yeah, with very detailed scenes of hunting, fishing, fighting, sacrifice, and even sexual encounters. The metalwork is amongst the most highly regarded in Americas. Yeah, so and in this museum, of course, you'll see all like no replica, yeah. It's really amazing, and unfortunately, it's not allowed to take pictures. Okay, all these places are located near the town of Chiclayo. In all honesty, the city of Chiclayo isn't anything special, except for the main plaza, which is nice. And the back streets are very chaotic. Please don't have high expectations on accommodation in this region. For me, the best option in town is Casa Andina Select Chiclayo. It offers pleasant and modestly designed rooms. And an in-house restaurant treats like guests with Peruvian cuisine. And the hotel also has a nice outdoor pool. Okay, let's continue our journey to the Pacific coast. Yeah, and take a look at this picture, for example. Yeah, it looks like a moonscape with all those holes, and all these holes have been done by looters. Yeah, searching for treasures. So imagine, yeah, and there's so many places like it's like full of holes, and in the back, what appears to be like a simple hill of yellowish sand, yeah. Is actually a fabulous pyramidal temple about 40 meters high, yeah, built with mud and adobe by the Moche around the year 200. And this place is called El Brujo, which means the wizard, yeah, and it is still partially covered by the earth. It has been discovered in 1990, and it are mainly three pyramids called Huaca Prieta, Huaca Cao Viejo, and Huaca Cortada. Here are some of the reliefs that can be seen in El Brujo, called the Parade of the Prisoners. You can see that they are naked and have a rope around their necks. Here are more reliefs. They are believed to be dancers. And the oldest figures on the right side appear to be geometric patterns with serpent features painted in red and yellow. And on the left side, you can see a man with bulging eyes, a flat white nose, thick lips, large prominent canine teeth, and that's the sacrificer, one of the most important figures found in El Brujo. The main facade on the temple has the shape of the step battlement and an architectural detail unknown until then in Moche construction. So this was really interesting, and at least it's the only site where I've seen like the step battlement. Oh, this place also has a side museum called Gao, and there are really beautiful pieces of gold and silver, ceramic and textiles have been found at El Brujo, yeah, and so you can see it in this small side museum. But the most extraordinary discovery happened in 2005, yeah, when the archaeologists found the tomb of a woman, yeah, the Lady of Gao, an ancient Moche leader and the most important of her time, who was represented in various iconographies of this culture, yeah, and you can see her mummy in this side museum. In this picture, you can see the Pacific Ocean in the back, yeah, and the green area on the left side are sugar cane plantations. The Peruvian northern coast has very good condition for growing sugar cane, and it is common to see local people working in the fields. Let's now visit the city of Trujillo. This city has a great historical importance because the independence from Spain was proclaimed in Trujillo, and it has also been the capital city of Peru. At some point in time, Trujillo was renamed to Bolivar City and then back to the original name. Like a traditional Spanish city, the cathedral surrounds the main square, yeah, and represents the beauty of the colonial architecture. Trujillo has a group of monuments with a historic, artistic, and architectural value, like the houses inhabited by the aristocrats in the early times and painted in their original colors, yeah, which can be red, blue, yellow, yeah, and the beauty of the window gates. In Trujillo, I recommend the Costa del Sol Trujillo Centro Hotel, yeah, which is strategically located at the main plaza. It is an iconic colonial building. The rooms are rather small, but have the charm. And the hotel has a restaurant and a pool. Close to Trujillo city, there are many important archaeological sites. This place is called Moche, yeah, same name as the culture, and it has been the capital of the Moche civilization. It lies at the foot of the Cerro Blanco mountain, which you can see in the back of the picture, and once covered an area of 300 hectares. Yeah, so the place has two very impressive adobe pyramids, a smaller one, the Huaca de la Luna, and a bigger one, the Huaca del Sol, which we can see in the back, yeah, in this picture. So the Huaca de la Luna has 3 tiers and is decorated with friezes showing Moche mythology and rituals and gigantic spider figures and fishermen. And now imagine that these pyramids were originally brightly colored in red, white, yellow, and black, yeah, and were used as an imposing setting to perform rituals and ceremonies, yeah. So imagine in a very arid landscape, yeah, like this colorful big pyramids. This is Chan Chan, the capital city of the Chimu civilization. It's a giant metropolis. Chan Chan covered some 20 square kilometers and had a population up to 40,000, making it the largest pre-Columbian city ever built. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So the Chimu began an aggressive campaign of expansion, incorporating several nearby cultures into their economy, and their successful policy of extracting tribute ensured that they became the dominant regional power. The city became the hub of a vast trade and tribute network. In 1470, just when the city was at its peak, the Inca overran it and took it rulers and artisan prisoners. In Chan Chan, you can see different blocks of buildings separated by canals. The walls of the compounds were decorated on the outside with bold relief designs and typically repeated geometric shapes. Shapes of animals and sea life, especially fish. And Chan Chan hosts extravagant citadels or palaces. Yeah? When the king of Chan Chan died, his first wife was drugged, and they performed a ritual that involved cutting out her heart as a sacrifice. And the rest of the 90 wives, 90, were poisoned without a ritual. Yeah, and all the women of the king were buried together in the palace and covered with sand. Since the palace would be transformed into a mausoleum, his successor needed to build his own new palace. Yeah, so the 9 palaces or citadels built over the centuries gave rise to the archaeological complex of Chan Chan. Huaca del Dragón, also called Huaca del Arco Iris, is a large religious monument and a ceremonial center. It is constructed of adobe with figures carved on the walls showing human figures, dragons, and rainbows. It is not clear if it has been built by the Moche or the Chimu. For me, it looks more in the Chimu style, yeah, because it has like similar style like Chan Chan. Very close from these archaeological sites is Huanchaco. It's a beach town known for its surf breaks, yeah, and the reed boats called caballitos de totora, which means totora horses, and that are used for fishing. It is very common to see the fishermen on the beach building the boats, yeah, and also go fishing. Huanchaco is also known for its ceviche. It's a seafood dish made from fresh raw fish and cured in fresh citrus juices that the local fishermen catch every day on the totora horses in the Pacific Ocean. And the sunsets are really lovely, like on the whole Pacific Ocean. So now let's go to the Andes to visit Cuelap, yeah, Peru's second Machu Picchu, even though this place was discovered many years before Machu Picchu in 1843. It has been constructed by the Chachapoyas people. It's a mysterious civilization known as the Warriors of the Cloud. The origin of this culture is still unknown, yeah, and Cuelap is located on a limestone ridge on top of a mountain at an elevation of 3,000 meters. In the past, you had a long walk up to Cuelap, yeah, but nowadays you can take the cable car to a platform that which is just under a mile from the citadel, and from there the moderately steep stairway, yeah, leads you to the ruins. So the fortress, yeah, which is 600 meters long and 400 wide, unfolds on an artificial platform surrounded by 20-meter high limestone walls, and its interior is divided into 2 levels. In the wall that surrounds the citadel, there are 3 funnel-shaped access points, yeah, 3 meters outside and 70 centimeters inside. Yeah, a feature that forced the invaders to let their men enter one by one. Within its walls, Cuelap houses 505 houses, yeah, and most of them were circular. About 3,000 people lived here in Cuelap. At Cuelap, many stones have reliefs with anthropomorphic or zoomorphic and geometric designs, as you can see like on this building. And there are also like water canals made of stone, which are believed to have supplied water to the settlements from a spring at the top of the mountain. And what happened to the Chachapoya people? It seems likely that in the second half of the 15th century, the Inca invaded the Chapapoya territories, yeah, and with the consequent imposition of some cultural traits, yeah, and this would be verified in the 5 rectangular Inca houses of Guelab, yeah. The sarcophagi of Garahia are a set of coffins with human shape and up to 2.5 meters, yeah, located on a cliffside. Their inaccessible location, very high above, yeah, a river gorge, has preserved them from destruction by looters. It is a funerary tradition of the Chachapoyas. And in a different style, we can also visit the Revash tombs, which are they are like tiny houses, yeah, and they are located in a straight line along a narrow hole that was shaped by a cavity, yeah, excavated in the rocky wall of a very imposing canyon, yeah, and they form a miniature village, yeah. This is also a funerary tradition of the Chachapoya people. Leimebamba is a small village in Chachapoyas, yeah, and this place is known for its amazing and unique museum, yeah. It's a small museum, but the museum collection has 261 mummies and more than 200 grave goods. So please look at the expressions of these mummies. So I find them amazing. And our guests love when they visit these places. It's really very special, yeah. And I think it's a moment of connection, like with those mummies. And imagine their stories, yeah. Okay, this is Gokta, yeah. Gokta is a beautiful waterfall that can be seen from several kilometers away. I highly recommend you a hike to the foot of the Gokta's fall, yeah, because there is a small lake, and you can experience the force of the waterfall of more than the waterfall has more than 770 meters, yeah. So it's of course it's not the highest of the biggest of the world, but it's really high, yeah. The accommodation Chachapoyas area is also simple, yeah, but charming. I recommend the Gokta Andes Lodge, yeah, with its colorful rooms, and the view from the pool is unbeatable, yeah. So let's go now to the Amazon jungle, yeah, to the Pacaya Sumida National Reserve, yeah, and this is a biodiversity paradise, yeah, where emblematic flora and fauna species of the Amazon live, yeah, like mammal species found in this area include like the Amazon the manatee, yeah, the red-faced spider monkey, the South American tapir, the Bolivian squirrel, the Amazon river dolphin, the puma, the giant otter, and the white-lipped peccary and the jaguar, yeah. What else? Okay, the South American coati, yeah, capybara are very common, yeah, and among others. Of course, it's not easy to see a puma, yeah, let me tell you, but you will see wildlife for sure, yeah. And the native population of the Cocamilla ethnic group are also, and also the Mestizo subsist in this area, yeah, and they subsist on the use of the natural resources in the reserve. For me, there is no better way of exploring this area than by boat, yeah, and I highly recommend the Aqua Expeditions river cruise experience. The cabins are in contemporary style, yeah, they have generous interiors and very large windows, so you don't miss anything that is outside. Every day, expert naturalist guides conduct small group excursions, yeah, usually of 8 persons, yeah, that reward guests with up-close wildlife encounters. So let's change the setting again. As you have seen on the map, Peru has a very long coast, yeah, but not all places are suitable for a beach holiday. The beaches located south of Cabo Blanco have lower temperatures due to the greater influence of the Humboldt current. Therefore, Mancora in the north of Cabo Blanco is the perfect place for enjoying a beach stay. Mancora features sandy beaches, yeah, delicious seafood, perfect way to surfers, and beautiful sunsets. Yeah, please note there are quite a lot of waves, but once you get across the point where the waves break, you can swim very well. Yeah, the town itself is very tiny. It's a laid-back fishing town, and in the evening you can take a 10-minute tuk-tuk ride, yeah, from your hotel to the center. And there are like many restaurants at the beach, yeah, and happy hours, and where you can enjoy dinner and the sunset. A lovely hotel here is the Arena Mancora, yeah, right on the beachfront. The rooms are very nicely decorated and spacious. Some have garden views, like the one in the picture, and others are oceanfront rooms. The hotel has a restaurant, so there is no need to go to town. And let's take a look now at the highlights of the central or / northern Peru, yeah, Cordillera Blanca and the archaeological ruins of Chavín de Huántar, close to Huaraz, the archaeological sites of Caral, Paracas, and Huacachina, south of Lima. If you love trekking and hiking, you shouldn't miss this place in Peru, the Huascarán National Park, that comprises most of the mountain range known as Cordillera Blanca, which means White Mountain Range. The Huascarán National Park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it is the world's highest tropical mountain range. Yeah? Mount Huascarán rises up to 6,700 meters above sea level. So the deep ravines, watered by numerous torrents, and the glacial lakes and the variety of the vegetation make it a site of spectacular beauty. Yeah, a site of spectacular beauty. It is the home of such species as the Andean condor. Yeah, so it's a place where you can really see the condors. There's even like a lagoon called Laguna del Condor, yeah, to see them, and also of the spectacle deer. Most lodging options in the area are rather simple for outdoor lovers, but there is a very nice boutique hotel in this area, the Cuesta Serena, with a home atmosphere and beautiful gardens and views. And after an intense day of outdoors and trekkings, there is no better place to pamper yourself. The rooms are very cozy. Some have mountain views, other look to the garden. And Cuesta Serena also offers like yoga classes, massage, and they have like the indoor swimming pool, yeah. And also the hotel kitchen is really good. With they offer fresh food and made with organic products from the garden. So the archaeological site of Chavín de Huántar is located at the foot of the snow-capped mountains of the Cordillera Blanca, and the Chavín civilization flourished between 900 and 200 BC in the northern and central Andes, and was one of the earliest pre-Inca cultures. The complex of Chavín de Huántar was in its days the most important pilgrimage destination in the Andes. And hence the Chavín art had a very strong influence on all the other cultures. It is said that they established the first universal Andean belief system, yeah, and therefore Chavín de Huántar has been designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And this is a gem, yeah. This is Caral. It's a 5,000-year-old archaeological site, and it is considered the oldest center of civilization in the Americas. Caral is one of only 6 places on the planet where civilization sprung up. Yeah, the others being China, India, Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Mesoamerica. The site is exceptionally well preserved, yeah, and impressive in terms of its design and the complexity of its architecture. Especially its monumental stone and earthen platform mounts, yeah, and the sunken circular courts. Quipu, which is the knot system used in the Andean civilizations to record information, yeah, found on this site, testifies the development and the complexity of the Caral society, yeah, and this is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Let's go now to Paracas, south of Lima. The Paracas National Reserve protects the desert and the marine ecosystems and has some stunning landscapes with contrasting colors in red, yellow, and the green-blue of the water. And there are also archaeological remains of the Paracas culture inside the reserve. The Paracas culture was the forerunner to the Nazca civilizations, who created the Nazca lines. The Paracas Peninsula is located in an exceptionally rich maritime zone, whose upwellings of extremely cold waters produce a great abundance of plankton that nourishes the fish, the crustaceans, and the mollusks. And the rock you can see on the right side in the picture is called the Cathedral. It was an imposing rock formation caused by the erosion of the sea and the wind over the centuries, but its structure collapsed during the violent earthquake in 2007. And so this is its remains. It was much bigger. The Paracas candelabra is a famous geoglyph that cannot be appreciated from the land, but from the sea. And you can see it when visiting the Ballestas Island. The candelabra is 180 meters long, and it's designed on the sand, similar to the geoglyphs of Nazca. And possibly the astronomers of the Nazca culture built this geoglyph, which is associated with the constellation of the Southern Cross, also known as the Cross of the Navigator, for indicating to the sailors of the Southern Hemisphere the location of the Austral Pole, the South Pole, through its main axis that will serve as a guide and orientation in their travels. The Ballestas Islands are a group of small islands composed largely by rock formations, and very near the town of Paracas. These islands are an important sanctuary for the marine fauna, like the guanay-guano bird, the blue-footed booby, which can also be seen in Galapagos, and the terns tendrils. It is also possible to see the Humboldt penguins. We have there are some in this picture. The fur seals and the sea lions. And another interesting place in this area is the Huacachina. Huacachina is surrounded by sand dunes. And the village of Huacachina is built around around a small natural desert lake. And it's a beautiful oasis, oasis, I cannot say that word. And the sand dunes reach heights of up to 500 meters. And some people do sandboarding or boogie riding on the sand dunes. I have my mixed feelings on this because of sustainability issues. If you're visiting this area, my recommendation is staying at the Hotel Paracas. It is a resort with a very relaxed feeling. A great place to finish a trip before returning home. The rooms ensure the greatest comfort and a very good rest. And each of them has a furnished terrace and a view of the sea and all the wonderful gardens. So our last stop will be Lima. Most travelers visit Lima very briefly, visiting the historical downtown area, and staying in the modern neighborhood of Miraflores. And in recent years, the colonial district of Barranco became more popular. It is considered to be the city's most romantic and bohemian district, being the home for many artists, and musicians, designers, and photographers. In the 19th century, it was a very fashionable beach resort for the Limeño aristocracy. In the opposite direction, Callao district, or called El Callao as well, is a seaside city next to Lima. And Peru's main international and domestic airport is located in Callao district. On the way to Callao, you can make a brief stop at the Real Felipe Fortress. It's a fortress built by the Spanish to defend the main Peruvian port and the city of Lima, from pirates and the corsairs during the colonial times. Another place is La Punta. Yeah, La Punta is a small district compared with others, but it has a unique beauty. Yeah, it has been once a very posh district where Cajao's most prestigious families have historically lived. Yeah, many of the district's old houses are still conserved and can be visited. The beaches in La Punta are quite visited during the summer season because of their calm waters, yeah, and the small pebbles composition. And because like in closer to Miraflores, the pebbles are much bigger, yeah, than in this area. And like this calm sea favors the practice of rowing and yachting in this place. And you can also see the fishermen in action. From here, it is also possible to visit Palomino Island, where numerous sea lions, yeah, and seabirds live in virtually like untouched ecosystem. You can even swim with the sea lions. It's really nice, especially if you're going with family, like with kids. It's an amazing experience, and it's safe. So the old downtown of Callao offers an interesting mixed, beautiful colonial architecture, street art, lots of street art, yeah. And in fact, in Callao, you can see the best street art of Lima, yeah, without a doubt. And there are also like many art galleries, yeah, mostly modern art, yeah. So returning back to Lima, a place you shouldn't miss is the Larco Museum, yeah, and not only because of its beautiful gardens, yeah, and not only because of the very good restaurant, yeah, which has a beautiful view to the garden. The collection of this museum is simply outstanding. Yeah, it's a privately owned museum of pre-Columbian art, and the museum has several permanent exhibitions. There is the Gold and Silver Gallery, yeah, that showcases like the largest collection of jewelry used by many notable rulers of the pre-Columbian Peru. And the Cultures Gallery exhibits 10,000 years of Peruvian pre-Columbian history, yeah. And here you can see like indigenous art from the Moche, yeah, the Chimu, the Paracas, the Nazca, the Chavin, and the Inca, like among others, yeah. The Larco Museum is also well known for its gallery of pre-Columbian erotic poetry. It is located in a separate building. A small boutique hotel located in Miraflores area that I like a lot, it's Atemporal. They have a very personalized service, a very nice garden, yeah. They also serve tea time. I like that a lot, yeah. And they have very comfortable rooms. So we have come to the end of this long journey in Peru. I hope I didn't rush through the presentation. And I want to thank you for joining me tonight. So Jas, I'm going back to you.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. That was very, very interesting. It's one place that I really want to go to, and I'm sure you'll be arranging it for me when I do travel out there. So thank you so much. So we just have a final poll for all of our guests. If you don't mind just filling that last one in. It just, you know, if you're interested in us contacting you, designing a complete bespoke trip for you. As you can see, there's lots of amazing destinations within Peru to consider, rather than everybody knowing about, say, Machu Picchu. There are some very beautiful places. Kulap was stunning as well. But yeah, even the waterfalls, as you can see, it's got everything you can imagine, this country. A lot of people just don't sort of know about it. So thank you so much, Ingrid, for sort of taking the time to spend with us today. As I said, you know, if you do need any assistance, do contact us at your convenience. I'll put you in contact with our South America specialist here as well, and we can design a very bespoke trip or whatever you guys sort of want there as well. So if we just leave it for another 20-30 seconds, and then we will sort of move on to the questions. So if you do have any questions, please do type them into the chat box there, and I can certainly let Ingrid know and then Ingrid can sort of answer those questions as well. Okay, Ingrid, so I've already got one coming already. Apologies for my pronunciation. It's not as good as Ingrid's. But when is the best time to go to Mancora?
Yeah, Mancora. Okay, it is said that the weather is good all year round, yeah, except I would say February and March, yeah, because it's the rainy season. January and February are like the hottest months, yeah, but it's also very crowded because there are like local holidays on those months. So of course, like it depends a lot, which is like the nicest temperature for you, yeah. In my opinion, I would say it's like around November, yeah, because like the water temperature feels nicer. It ranges like between 20 and 24 degrees, yeah. If you go like earlier, let's say July, August, yeah, maybe the temperature is around between 18 and 21 degrees. Yeah, I'm talking about the water temperature. And usually you feel it nice when it's above 20. Yeah. During the summer times, the temperatures go up to 30 degrees. Yeah, and so I would prefer something in between, like 27 degrees, and that's around November, yeah, or maybe 26. At least for me, 24, it's a little bit too cold for swimming. I mean now the outside temperature.
Fantastic, thank you, Ingrid. Ingrid, the questions are flying through here. So I've got another one here for you. Is it possible to visit Caral from Lima as a day trip?
Yes, it is. Yeah, and it will be a very long day because it takes 3 hours to drive to Caral. Yeah, and then on this side, you have to calculate another 4 hours, and then again 3 hours to drive back. Yeah, but yes, it's possible. Yeah, and very recommendable.
Fantastic. And we have another question here. So Trujillo and Chiclayo seem to be a very dry region. Does it become too hot?
No, not really. It's a dry region. It's true. But for example, Trujillo, they call it like the city of eternal spring. Yeah, so you have like a very mild weather there, and it really feels nice all year round. Yeah, so I don't remember the temperatures quite well, but it's like I remember, when was it? Yeah, it's something like around I would say around 18 degrees and 25 or 27, no, 26 degrees. Yeah, so it feels really nice.
Fantastic. And when I've heard this as well. I know that there can be high altitude in Peru itself, but is the altitude sickness an issue when you visit places like Calap?
Yes, it can be an issue. Yeah, because Calap is at 3,000 meters. Yeah, so as a rule, I always say that, I mean, most people have no problems with altitude sickness up to 2,500 meters. Yeah, so, but after 2,500 meters, some people experience altitude sickness, others not. Yeah, so yes, in that case, what we recommend is, of course, a slow pace. Yeah, drink lots of water. The advantage that you have in the Chachapoyas region is that usually you don't fly in straight. You cannot. Yeah, so you're driving, and that helps a lot, like the body to get acclimatized to altitude.
Fantastic. Well, I believe those are that was the last question. But like I said, if anybody does have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Ingrid, if you just want to go to the last slide there, and
Yes,
I'd love to let our guests know about our next webinar that we're going to be doing. So the next one is going to be the webinar on Chile and Argentina. It's going to be with Ingrid again, and that would be on the 23rd of June at 7 p.m. So please come and join us once more. You know, we'd love to sort of showcase what Chile and Argentina have to offer as well, and two fantastic countries to go with Peru there as well. But other than that, I thank you for your time this evening. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And thank you so much, as I said, for joining us today. And if there is anything we might be able to help you with, please don't hesitate to contact us at your convenience. But thanks once again, and have a lovely evening. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.